Hello, hello. So, Joey, can you remember what year it was when you came to the yoga space?
I can have a. I think it was was it 2009? Was it
Yeah,
something like that?
probably. Yeah, because one of your kids was really small, weren't they? Were they like
My
baby,
kids, I
baby
think,
small?
yeah, I remember it now. My Caleb would have just turned 3. He was born in
Yeah,
2006. Yeah, it
yeah,
would
yeah.
days he was born.
What? Obviously, we're coming up to our 17th birthday, which is amazing. What do you kind of remember about those days, like when you first started your Mysore studio in the north after doing it in
Uh,
London?
yeah, it was quite a culture shock. Like coming up to Leeds compared to practicing in London, definitely felt different. But what was most obvious thing that I remember is just the enthusiasm. Students were so
Yeah,
enthusiastic
yeah, yeah,
to have space to come to and to practice and learn. And yeah, and it was. I mean, yeah, it was just a lovely time. Now. When I think back to it, it was a lovely time.
yeah,
There were lots of
yeah,
used to come. And,
yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah,
still in touch with lots of them. Some of them have got married and had kids and moved away. Some have died.
yeah. No, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's
yeah,
yeah, it was a lovely place to come to and to kind of make a home for a self practice group, people that wanted to.
yeah. What do you think of like? What's the biggest challenge, do you think, for someone kind of, sticking to like a regular Ashtanga or a Mysore style practice? Because obviously you've seen a lot of people come and go, but you've also seen people just kind of really stick with it and really flourish with it.
I
What do you
think
think
there's
one
a
of the
few
biggest
different
challenges is?
aspects to that. I think the simple fact is I think most people aren't really. I think most people don't realise that if they're going to take yoga practice kind of seriously or Dharma practice seriously, it does ask a lot of you. It asks you to
Yeah,
dramatic make sort of changes. I mean, I know a lot of people just sort of flirt with yoga as a pastime or a hobby, but I think a lot of people they realise quite quickly that there's a kind of to do it well, to do it seriously, it requires it's like a vocation or something. I mean, I remember David White talks about being married to your vocation, and there is a slight sense, even if yoga isn't your way of making your bread, it does require a lot of sacrifice. So for a lot of people, there's a whole shift in our culture to practice yoga, and for a lot of people, I think they welcome that, having a community of people who want to practice together and sort of taking the transformative elements of the practice quite sort of seriously. I think a lot of people relish that, but for a lot of people, it's a challenge, isn't it? Because there's so many other things that are taking up our time in life, be it family or even be it just other
yeah,
stuff. So yeah.
yeah.
But I'm reminded of recently. I was listening to. There's a wonderful teacher who I enjoy listening to his talks. He's called Henry Shukman. He's a Zen teacher, and he was saying,
Okay.
there's an old story about is practice difficult, and I think it's the father says practice is difficult, and then the mother goes practice is easy, and then I think it's the daughter goes practice is not difficult and it's not easy. It's like that. That's the whole story. It's kind of simple. So I definitely think there are times when people struggle to be committed to practice, and there are times when I would have said, yeah, it's really hard, and other times I go, oh, it's so easy. And maybe now I'm more like the daughter
Yeah,
who's not hard, it's not easy.
yeah. Yeah. And was there like a shift? Can you remember when there was a shift for you in terms of when you like really made that commitment and thought, no, this is it, this is kind of
Yeah,
so much bigger than me and I just want to kind of
yeah, no, I can.
commit to
There's
it.
a few different moments. So for me, doing yoga for a few years, quite committedly. I'd always practiced and done daily practice, but not particularly with teachers. I've done a lot on my own. I treated it like a solo project, learning from a book and piecing together bits and
Yeah.
pieces. And I did that for a while. But for me, there was a big shift, which is I can remember September September, yeah, September 11th. I remember the planes hit the World Trade Center, and that created quite a shift in me. I mean, I think it created quite a shift in the whole world, actually. But I can remember that happened. And then the other thing that was a more sort of obvious shift is I then met Jenny and Sibel, who are two wonderful Mysore style teachers in Brixton. They were great. They were my first Mysore style teachers, Jenny and Sibel. And then from them, I also then met John Scott, and John Scott really inspired me. And I can remember the first time I went to see John, he was teaching in Oxford, which was my hometown. And I can remember he talked about God, which shocked me as I'd grown up as sort of atheist. I was like, God, I'm just here to stretch, maybe get fit. You know, I was doing drama at the time. So I was like, I'm just here, you know, that whole side of things. So I was a bit shocked, but then there was also part of me, I really got drawn in. And I can remember at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And John steered me over towards Hamish. So by that point, I'd pretty much committed to going, I'm not going out with my friends to the pub anymore. I'm going to bed, getting up late.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it really did become a kind of lifestyle for me, you know, and I've just turned 40. And I think for about 20 years now, I've been getting up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to do yoga early. And to be honest, it's my favorite time to practice. Just because I won't be disturbed. Then it's done, and I feel certain. It's just become, for me personally, it's just become a kind of way of life, I suppose.
Yeah. And it's just what you do. That's the thing, isn't it? It's just what you do. And
I say
lots of people have kind of.
I was just going to say, I say that on the other side, on the flip side. I mean, that's been my take. But there's loads of people who practice just once a week, twice a week, and they get its benefit. So, I mean, it's a very personal. Some people they do it.
Yeah.
Other people it becomes something that's more committed.
Yeah. Lots of people have kind of been saying over this last year, and it's nearly a year, isn't it, that we've been in this situation, that kind of yoga's been a lifeline for them, really. And I think, you know, as you know, we want to be teaching people in a room, but to just be able to still teach yoga and share yoga with people and, you know, keep them practicing has been like incredible, really, you know, to be able to kind of keep the community going. What's the challenges for you as a teacher teaching online, do you think? What makes it difficult, and, you know, and also what's kind of good about it as well? What's kind of changed?
When the lockdown first happened, I just didn't teach for the first month, or maybe it was longer, maybe 6 weeks. And a few people sort of said, oh, you know, people are teaching on Zoom. And I was just like, well, I couldn't get my head around it. I think I was personally in a bit of shock at the beginning of lockdown. I was just like, oh, this is so weird. But also, we were about to have Rosa. So me and Rach have a 7-month-old baby. So I knew that was in the pipeline coming. It was just way. So part of me in the beginning was like, well, let's embrace this and have a rest. And then I started to attend student pranayama classes, breath classes with my old teacher, Alaric. And I have a long-standing relationship with him. And the fact that I could then not go all the way to London or go to France on retreat, but he was doing class every day. So every day we did an hour of pranayama. And in the beginning, I must admit, as a student, in the beginning, I think the first 2 or 3 classes, I just hated it. There were all buzzing noises and bleeping noises, distractions, and I didn't know how to pin a video, so it would go from him to somebody else. At the beginning, I was like, "Oh, this is terrible," and then within a week or so, I was like, "Oh, I'm kind of getting the hang of how this works," and I really started to enjoy being a student and loving the fact that, okay, I live in West Yorkshire and he lives in so that became wonderful. And then the other thing is the work I was doing as a student, it's quite deep work. It's quite internal kind of work. But actually, because we were on lockdown, and in the beginning of lockdown, if you remember, you know, there were hardly any cars anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like the dial and the volume of the wire went up. And it felt like being on retreat. So it didn't feel like it did feel like this is a great opportunity as a student to feel like I'm living a very simple lifestyle and to go deeper into practice. Then what happened is when some students got in touch with me and said they were actually struggling with the lockdown and finding just they needed inspiration and they wanted they were basically saying, would I maybe consider teaching? And then I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And for me, I've been really surprised at the benefits and how much I enjoy it. I enjoy teaching online. I think I enjoy it just as much as teaching face to face. I still like now talking to you. It's like I feel we can make contact in counselling. You know, the first sort of the 6 necessary conditions of Carl Rogers is contact. You know, be in contact. And I felt that wouldn't be possible through Zoom. And then first as a student and then as a teacher, I realised that we can make contact.
Yeah, there's still relationship, isn't there? Yeah.
So obviously I've had to completely change what I thought was possible. I can't see people from lots of different angles. Sometimes I can barely see people at all. Some people are very good at getting a nice clear room with bright light, no light behind them. So some people are very, used to using Zoom, and other people, you can ask them to change the angle, but they're struggling with a phone or something that's. I would say I try to now arrive when I'm teaching with very little expectation.
Yeah.
But having said that, because yoga is quite a clear system that you can set people through these sort of sequences of what to do as they practice, I find that me being able to just talk to people as they practice or guide people through practice, I feel like it's offering some help. And at first I felt maybe it was only possible to teach existing students.
Yeah.
Some people who, I think they had already done some yoga, but some people who've come to my classes quite regularly, and I've seen wonderful progress, progress.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been very heartening. I see a lot of benefit. The other massive benefit, I'm talking to a friend who comes to class, what she found, her experience was sometimes people can get a bit competitive in classes. It's very human to compare yourself to the other person. But some people, they've said their experience on Zoom has been really positive because they're just listening to the teacher, doing their own practice in their own home. And that creates a certain ease or a certain ambience of relaxedness. They can wander off and, do whatever they need. And I think there's been something quite special about that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes away some of the feeling that you have to behave a certain way because you're socially in a group. So I think it's been tremendous benefit, but I also acknowledge it would be nice to just touch students again. There are times I'm just like, I've said it 6 different ways, I just want to grab you and turn.
I know.
That would be nice. I'm looking forward to being able to just, be with you.
Yeah. We've missed you, man. We've really missed you. Definitely missed you. Yeah. So when you do the primary led series on the Friday for the festival, will you just be kind of at the camera talking people through, or were you actually demonstrating?
I won't demonstrate all that much.
You won't demonstrate, okay.
It's basically a class that will be suitable for people who are already quite familiar with the primary
Already
series.
quite familiar, okay, great.
You do not need to be able to do the whole of the primary series.
Okay.
I'll be giving lots of modifications. People seem, if people seem a bit lost, I definitely will show some stuff. I tend to show a little bit, but I spend most of the time talking. And
okay, brilliant.
To do. So that seems to work.
Yeah, good. That's good to know. Yeah.
It won't be as well when I'm leading the classes on the Friday. It's not going to be a dead traditional class. There'll be some things skipped or omitted. There'll be some extra things added. So it's like it's based on the primary series, but a very loose interpretation.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Oh, we look forward to it. And thanks for having a chat with me today. It's so nice to see you. And congratulations on your beautiful daughter. She looks absolutely delightful, and I look forward to seeing her.
Yeah, I look forward to
yeah, I'll hopefully catch up with you soon, and let's just hope and pray that we can all be together again before long.
We can get back into the space.
Yeah. Thanks, lovely. I'll see you soon.